The world can seem upside down at times, which has set me on a journey in search for love, truth, and ultimately personal freedom. I'm on a mission to help people find peace and healing so that each of us as individuals and ultimately the collective can be free from whatever keeps us stuck and skews our view of just how beautiful this life can be. Welcome to the Mack Show. Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome back to another episode of the Mack Show. I am Mack. This episode gets real, very real. I have Matthew Gower on from the Greenhorn Grove YouTube channel and all social media content. And also, he's the founder and director of Here We Grow, a regenerative farming nonprofit that 100% of the proceeds of the nonprofit go back into supporting regenerative farming. It's an incredible organization, what he's doing. And I met him at the Homesteaders of America conference a few weeks back in Virginia, and we just hit it off. And this episode gets real, like I said, but it is so beautiful. And it's a permission for every single one of us to be more vulnerable, more authentic, because at the end of the day, truth is the only thing that will make us free. Not the masks that we carry, not the money or the digits in our bank account, but truth. And I'm really honored to have Matthew on the podcast, and everyone enjoy. Well, brothers and sisters, like I said, it was a really incredible encounter that I had at the Homesteaders of America conference, and I got to meet Matthew. Brother, I am so happy to have you on the podcast and excited to hear your story and share your story with the world. So thanks for coming on.
I am thrilled to be. I've been looking forward to this all week, Lucas.
Dude, that's awesome. It's one of those things, right? When we met, it was like we were locked in with each other. You know, it was really cool.
Yeah.
You know, you heard me say that I believe there's no accident why the word earth and heart share the same letters. And if you take the H of heart and you put it at the end, you get earth. And I think there's this massive movement that we're witnessing where people are returning back to the earth, back to their hearts, and really coming to this greater question of who are they?
Yeah.
What is their purpose? What is our purpose as humans on this earth? And I think your story is so beautiful because you found a really grounded answer in your journey of returning to the earth. So why don't you just start with how you got into what you're doing and, you know, take it away from wherever you want to start.
I mean, I guess it would start just before the lockdowns. So I was in nightclubs, and I was, you know, I would get home from work about 5 a.m. And I lived a life of as much excess as possible in every way possible. And I felt like that made me important. You know, I had money, I had the car, I had the job, I had the access, and I really felt like that made me so important. And then the lockdowns happened, and it became clear to me right away that I was non-essential. They just said, we don't need you right now. Why don't you just go away for a year, and then we'll tell you when you're important again. And it really puts in perspective that, you know, I wasn't such a big deal. The money, the cars, the people who called me, the celebrities I knew because they wanted to get into the clubs, none of that stuff mattered. None of it did. Because it wasn't essential to my life, and I wasn't essential to the world. And so sitting there weeks and months at a time, I started to really think about what was essential to my life. And that's how we first came with the idea to buy a farm and move to this small town in the middle of nowhere and start doing homesteading.
Amazing. You know, before we even get into that, growing up, what did you think you would be doing? And was nightclub promoting in the cards or homesteading in the cards? Like, what did you aspire to be growing up?
I mean, you know, there was a point where I aspired to be a pro baseball player. You know, I loved baseball. I thought that was all I really wanted to do.
Wow.
And then, you know, you kind of have your grounded self, and that self thought, oh, I could be a journalist, which, you know, it was a different time for news back then. It was the 80s.
Yeah,
That was a huge profession back then.
right.
So yeah, I never saw myself doing this for sure. I grew up in Chicago, and so it's you grew up around violence, and you grew up around crime, and you grew up around um, just people going through it,
Mm,
and you see that every day.
mm.
Sorry, my dog is losing her mind over here. She's
No problem. She's excited. She's joining us.
yeah. No, she
Uh,
heard another voice. She was like, "This guy sounds okay."
that's great. Wait, were you doing the club promoting in Chicago?
I've done club promoting in Chicago. So I was part of a 20,000 square foot entertainment complex. It had three different bars inside of it. It was called Double Vision.
Wow.
And it had the press box, which was, it had, I think the length of the bar was like 126-foot long, contiguous
Wow.
H-shaped bar. It was huge.
Wow.
There was like 150 TV screens in the place. It was enormous. And then there was Lefty's Lounge, and there was Filthy McNasty's was the name of the nightclub
Mm,
that had a full stage and everything. So yeah, I did it up there for a while. Bartended in Vegas. Just I've been all over the place.
wow.
Partying and nightlife, I thought was my life.
Mm. What, I mean, looking back now, what is the draw to that? That wasn't an ever a world that I went in, so I have no idea. Like, what is the draw of constantly going out and late nights and drinking and socializing and obviously drugs and all those things?
You know, honestly, I think for me it was a little bit different than most people because I just recently was diagnosed with autism,
Hmm.
and so I've always felt a little out of place in social situations where there's a lot of people, but I wanted to be part of it. You know, I recognized that this was someplace that a lot of people were comfortable and I wasn't, so I wanted to be part of it. But I found that if I was the bartender, for example, I didn't have to be part of the whole throng of people, but I was definitely a centerpiece of everything that was happening.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got started in everything. For me, it was just I was trying to be like everybody else.
Hmm. What do you think, leaving that now and looking back, what are people chasing? Because these are big existential questions that I think you're helping answer on the other side of what you're doing now. But what is it that you saw people chase?
Ego and vanity.
Hmm.
Uh, we we've created this image of what we're supposed to be in our society that says, oh, you're supposed to be rich and you're supposed to be powerful and you're supposed to have all
Hmm.
these things. And if you get all these things and you become rich and you become powerful, then you'll be happy. And that's
Yeah.
how you find happiness. And it's this lie wrapped up in shiny paper.
Hmm.
You know, we don't need any of that. What we really need to be happy is balance.
Hmm.
You know, we need peace, we need balance, we need a place where we can find an equilibrium in ourselves. It's like I thought I was happy. You know, I thought I was this happy guy. I thought I had a great life. I was miserable, you know,
Hmm.
and then I'd get home from work and I would drink for 3 hours until like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Hmm. Speaking of balance, every time I hear that word, which I hear a lot, I think of the story and it makes me laugh. I'm with one night I was at a buddy's condo, this really high-end condo in Bellevue, Washington, which is headquarters of Expedia and Microsoft and Costco's right there and Amazon's, all the tech money's there. So this high rise was really beautiful, overlooking Lake Washington,
Mhm.
and my buddy lived in there. And I would go join him in his sauna and club, his workout facility, and we'd sauna at this place. It was a really cool sauna. Well, one night we go in, and this old, I mean, he must have been, if not late 80s, early 90s, Chinese man, Japanese, I don't know, some Asian man. And he comes in to the sauna, and my buddy and I are just both like, I'm suffering in silence. I'm sweating it out. We were going a long time, and he comes in and he's like, "You must seek balance," and we're like, "What?" And like, he's like talking about do not date women. Women destroy balance, or he's going through this whole thing, and the guy was kind of funny, but he kept talking about balance, and he kept saying, "Balance. You must seek a balance," and he leaves. And I go, who is that guy? My buddy's like, I've never seen that guy in this building at all. And he checked later. No one knew how he got in there, but this old Asian guy came into the sauna and told us about balance. And so every time my buddy texted me a balance, I know exactly what we're talking about. But you're right. We need balance,
Yeah.
and balance cannot be found in excess, and it can't be found in the pursuit of that which can never be caught.
Mhm.
So how did you find balance? And this gets in more into the 2020 transition,
Yeah.
into the homesteading, but tell us about your journey now.
Well, one of the big things about it was that I was drinking even after I left the club life. Like, in fact, I
Mm,
probably drank more because I had so much time on my hands. So,
mm. So, yeah, with 2020 and the transition, how did you find balance? And you're talking about how much you were drinking just because you had so much time on your hands.
yeah, I drank like crazy. I drank like a fish because I had nothing else to do.
Mm,
And so I was getting drunker and drunker and just hanging out and doing stuff. But then we moved to the farm. All of a sudden, you
mm,
have all this work to do, you know? And I'm outside all the time. We call ourselves Greenhorn Grove because I have no idea what I'm doing at this point.
that's awesome.
None. So I'm just going blind. I built a chicken coop. I spent like 4 grand building out this chicken coop, which I could have done for probably, $500.
400, yeah, yeah,
You
500,
know,
yeah, right.
like just built. I built like 5 different pens. I had no idea. I'd never had chickens before.
Right.
We had like 6 chickens, and I built them like I don't know, 1,000 square foot facility back there.
That's amazing.
You know, just
Wow.
just how my mind worked. But
Yeah.
I'm losing my train of thought here. I'm sorry. But then started slowing down with the drinking, and my wife said to me, she said, "You need to stop drinking altogether. You're just not a good
Mm,
person when you're drinking."
mm,
And I said, "Okay," because it was that important.
right.
And so I quit drinking that day.
Wow. Was
Yeah.
that hard? Or did you get it out of the house, or how'd you do it?
I'm not a person who has a hard time saying no to the first drink. It's
Mm,
every drink that comes after it.
mm.
So if I don't say yes to the first one, then I don't drink 20.
Wow. Did that
But if I,
change? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if I drink that first one, then I'll usually drink till I'm going to bed.
Wow. Did that, or how did that change your relationship with your wife?
Oh, things got a lot better after that. I mean, she had every reason to feel emotionally unsafe with me.
Mm,
She did because it was Jekyll and Hyde.
mm,
It's not like I was getting physically abusive or anything like that,
sure.
but I was just an unpleasant, angry, rage-filled person,
Mm,
and I didn't even know that at the time. I didn't know how much rage I had inside,
mm,
but I was holding on to all that stuff,
right.
and so when I drink, it would come out.
Mm. Growing up, what was life like growing up for you?
It was hard. I know I'm autistic,
Mm-hmm.
but I got picked on a lot.
Bullied. Yeah. Yeah.
I got picked on. I got bullied. I was not popular. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't cool at all. I didn't understand how to fit into the social norms,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody knew how to help me.
Mm,
And when I got diagnosed with autism, though, it was like I was able to look back at all that stuff, and it
mm.
was it was such a great moment for me because I was just able to immediately forgive all of those people because it was
Wow.
like they didn't know any better. They were trying to act with me socially like they would with anybody else who would understand, who would then change their behaviors. It's just the way kids establish a hierarchy and teach each other how to behave with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't have to be mad at those people. And I can forgive myself too, because for
Mm,
the longest time I was like, oh, there was something wrong with you. You were a messed up, weird kid.
mm,
And that's why nobody liked you because you were
mm,
broken. And I'm like, no, I wasn't.
mm,
I got made the way God wanted me to be made,
mm.
because everybody is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so because of that, I was able to say, okay, well, I was too hard on myself and I was also too hard on them. And
Mm,
it let me just let go of all that resentment I held and all that, so much of that internal anger that I got a hard shake in life and things were bad for me. No, they weren't. It was a difficult situation for everybody involved.
mm,
And I don't think anybody maliciously wanted to hurt me.
mm.
So Yeah, growing up as a kid was difficult, but we always say that like the hardships make you who you are.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily think that's 100% true because I think people take it too far. They believe that they are their trauma, and
Yes,
you're not.
yes, yes. I I do a lot of coaching for with men and women, but a podcast episode I put out years ago says, "Are your shackles of shame your badges of honor?" Like
Yeah,
the badges of honor that you're like, "Yeah, I went through this, and yeah, this happened to me," and they creates this bravado, but it's really the shackles of shame that are keeping people stuck to events that they'll never be free from until they're humble enough to say,
yeah,
"Yeah, this happened to me, but it doesn't define who I am."
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I am the person I am today, and I am the actions I take right now.
Mm,
I'm my character and I'm my integrity,
mm,
and that's what really matters to me the most.
mm.
Is that I do things within the code I want to live my life by, and if I can do that, then I'm winning.
That's beautiful. What was the so when you stopped drinking, because I want you to I want you to get to, what led to you even to go seek a diagnosis, or, but
Mhm.
what was that between you acknowledging you had so much rage, you're not drinking, to going to the doctor and finding out you're autistic?
Well, it was actually being on social media
Huh.
because before I started on social media, I wasn't really exposed to it. I wasn't a social media guy.
Mm,
I was a nightclub guy. I didn't care about posting things. None of that mattered to me. I thought it was all silly. And I was like, okay, everyone's telling us what they had for dinner. Cool.
right.
Um, and so when I did get on social media, I started getting exposed to this and seeing a lot of these psychiatrist and psychologist pages and therapist pages that talked about it. And I was like, huh, that's weird. And that sounds familiar. But then
Mm,
what really did it was that, my wife has two kids from her first marriage,
mm.
and one of the kids has autism. And
Wow.
so we're helping him in school and helping him do things. And I'm reading all these books and I'm like, that's funny. I was just like that as a kid. Oh, that's
Wow.
crazy. That's another thing I was just like.
Wow.
Um, and it was like, then you're like, hey, wait a minute. That is another thing that I was just like,
Wow. That's
yeah. And so I was
amazing.
like, I'm pretty sure, but I couldn't really believe it, because I was like, I'm not a doctor. I
Mm.
need to find out for sure. So I went and got the diagnosis, and yeah, there we are.
Wow. That must have just melted. I mean, you said you forgave everyone, but I can just feel that just must have melted everything away.
It's changed so much for me. It's
Hmm.
changed everything for me
Hmm.
because you talk about shame and the shackles of shame. I was so ashamed of
Yeah.
who I was
Yeah.
because there was something wrong with me. Like you see me talking on this, and I've built a very careful mask. This is called masking.
Sure.
So it's who I am. I'm speaking from my heart. This isn't fake. It isn't genuine, but I've learned how to behave in a certain way that makes me more palatable to people. I
Yeah.
used to tell people when I was bartending, I only have to be interesting in 30-second doses.
Hmm.
That's why I liked bartending.
Hmm.
But that was fake. I was putting on a show then.
Right.
Now I'm able to interact the way I need to, but still bring out my internal person. And
Hmm.
it's so much less exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah. It is exhausting carrying masks, multiple masks.
Yeah.
And especially if you're trying to calibrate which one to put on and how to perform. And yeah, most people are exhausted, not from the amount of work, not from the pressures of work, but from the mass that they carry, the heaviness of just trying to mentally figure out how to, because at the end of the day, we just want to be loved. That's it. That is the core gap inside every human, is just to be loved. And if we can be accepted, then it leads to hopefully being loved. So I can imagine that, brother.
Yeah, I
That was
felt
a
that when you
journey.
said it too. Like I felt that
Mm,
right here. Like
mm.
that's so valid. And it's just I think it all comes down to like people want to say love and hate are opposites, and I don't think so.
No, I
I
agree.
think love and indifference are opposites.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. In fact, I think to hate someone, you actually love them. You can't hate that which, I don't know if that's actually true, but I think about this a lot. Like
Yeah.
what brings hate? Because God, the Bible talks about like Esau, God hated his soul, and you're like, whoa, geez. Well, did God not love him? Well, God loved them, but he was so. What is hate? Hate's not. I don't know. It's really a fascinating concept that would take us down a different road, but I agree. Indifference or apathy to
Well, I mean,
say,
it's similar to like courage.
yeah,
Courage isn't the absence of fear.
right,
It's the act in spite
right.
of it.
That's right. That's right. So, and I don't want, you can talk as much as you want, but I'm just curious of how did your and your wife's marriage, like, where are you guys today? Because it's quite a journey that you took to get this land, but then you're not drinking. All of a sudden, you're finding out you're autistic, and so you're doing a lot of personal healing through this whole journey.
Yeah.
So, how did it heal
Um,
your relationship, or I'm sure impacted it quite a bit? Yeah.
yeah, and it's actually it's this is something else I haven't talked about to anybody online.
Hmm.
But my wife actually left while we were at the Homestead conference with the kids. Um,
Wow.
it's the diagnosis was about 6 weeks ago. I don't think that's necessarily the reason, but I definitely think it's played a factor. It's hard to deal with me when uh, I get autistic shutdown is a thing, autistic
Hmm.
meltdown is a thing. I become overwhelmed by stuff. And like before I was preparing for that trip, I was overwhelmed and panicky and anxiety filled and
Hmm.
stressed out. And everybody gets that energy. And she and I have had problems for a while. We've been in therapy. And I told her flat out, like, I, I want us to do couples therapy. I want us to work this out. But right now, I'm a lone steader right now. I'm alone on the farm.
Hmm.
Um, I became a different person, I guess, and this is pretty common from what I've heard after I got diagnosed because I did stop wearing my mask and it was abrupt,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, and
Yes.
I don't have a bad thing to say about my wife.
Hmm.
Not one.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to say anything about her. And it's one of the reasons I haven't said anything on my social media because I don't want everybody to come to my defense
Yeah.
because that's not,
Yeah. It's not necessary.
it's
Yeah.
not, and it's not
Yeah.
helpful and it's not
Right.
respectful of her.
Yeah.
And her children are my children.
Yeah.
They're the children from her first marriage, so they're not my birth children, but they're my children. I raised them
Yeah.
since they were two.
Wow.
I was the primary caregiver. I love those boys. They are my boys.
Yeah.
I potty trained them. I was with them. I took them to their doctor's appointments. I took them to their
Mm.
speech therapists. I drove them to school.
Right.
Like I'm not going to disrespect the mother of my children.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, this is, first of all, I love this and thank you. And this is what we're doing right now is showing people an example of truth, not shininess, not perfection, not, I mean, I know you don't know me too well, but I've talked about being molested on this podcast and beaten, all the things that I've gone through. I mean, this is the human journey. It's
Yeah.
not linear and it's not clean and it's not tidy. And that, in spite of all of it, there's still love and grace. And I don't even mean that from a religious sense. I just mean the fact that you and I can sit as brothers and talk, states apart, time zone apart, but still, love one another and show an example to everyone watching and listening. Like, because everyone's going through something right now. Every single person is going through
Yeah.
something right now. And I can imagine too, because my wife and I have gone through, I mean, really, it was not until this past April that my wife and I's marriage was restored. And I think when women want safety, it's hard when it all of a sudden feels like something's different, and but
Well,
God,
that's the core of it. She didn't feel
yeah,
emotionally safe with me.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I can understand that.
yeah,
Um, but I've only got diagnosed with this a month and a half ago,
amazing,
2 months now, I guess, or so. And so I've just started working on using strategies to be able to better handle this and
Mm,
getting therapies to help me with it. And
yeah,
so, I'm moving forward with positivity. That's all I can do. It's because
yeah,
like I know it would be so easy right now to let that darkness in.
yeah,
It
yeah,
would be so easy. And part of me wants to. Part of me wants to be
Mm,
angry and rage and throw a fit and
right,
start problems.
right,
And I saw myself going that direction when it first happened, for the first couple of days.
Mm,
And then I realized that bitterness burns both ways.
yeah.
It's, I'm not hurting her, I'm hurting both of us.
Yeah.
It serves no purpose. It does no good. And I said, the only thing I can do right now, I can't let the darkness in. So I'm just trying to go out in the world and light candles.
Mm,
I'm just trying to light candles. I'm trying to create educational content. I'm trying to work with my charity. I'm trying
yeah.
to help people. And if I can light enough candles, that light will shine back on me. And the
Yeah.
darkness can't exist where the light is.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. I have a quote right here that I say all the time that darkness is not a counterforce to light. Darkness exists in the absence of light.
Yeah.
And so, exactly what you're saying, you keep lighting the candles, there is no darkness to enter.
Look at the world today.
Yeah.
Just look at the world. People pride themselves in the ability to go online and win an argument with somebody else online that they've never met
Right. Right.
and say horrible, mean things to them. And they're proud of this and they think they're doing some good in the world. It's like, no, you don't fight darkness with darkness.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Both those darknesses then just come together and become stronger.
That's right. Yeah. Fire. I always teach my children and in coaching that fighting fire with fire creates more fire. Fighting fire with water creates steam. And the only way to change the environment is to not use the same approach that's being used against you. And ultimately, I mean, that's why I love the Bible says that love covers a multitude of sins, that perfect love casts out all fear, that we were not given a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of sound mind. It's like ultimately the battle is won and lost in our mind and how we view. Are we going to, like you're saying, be intentional and continue on the path of love and be a light, or allow a victim mindset of this is what's happened to me and it's unfair? And I'll tell you, brother, I've seen so many beautiful marriages restored and my own marriage restored. And I think the thing that I want to share with you, and this is not teaching or preaching to you or anything, it's just as consistent and calm as you can be, it invites it back in.
Mhm.
And invites it back in. I think ultimately the test that we all want to know, because the little girl inside your wife, the inner child inside all of us just wants to know, is love real and will we be unconditionally loved? And there's this whole theory now that man cannot, mankind, humans can't love each other unconditionally. Only God can love each other unconditionally. But I think that's a cop out. I think ultimately the question is, like you said, will I choose to love no matter what? And when we know that, when we feel that, or when someone else feels that from us, that's where I'll just say this, that A.W. Tozer, I quote this on this podcast all the time. A.W. Tozer has a quote, and he said, "A man with an experience is never at the mercy of a man with an argument." So if someone experiences it, what can anyone say to logic it away, And so you just being that space and that container of calmness and is going to invite it back in. But I think too, you know, you're around nature all day long. You're around plants and animals. And what is it that you've learned observing nature that, what are the big lessons that you've learned just observing nature?
I there is a there is a system in place around everything, and things want to work cooperatively in nature.
Hmm.
They want to work cooperatively. And if you help them work cooperatively, it's really hardly any work at all. Um, this,
Interesting.
th- it
Yeah.
really is. I mean, you could get me started on this and I could talk all day about, amp grazing, which is, adaptive multi-paddock grazing, regenerative farming techniques and food. And I'll get very excited and I will just info dump all over your podcast because there's so much amazing stuff out there. We live in this world that's green revolution based,
Mhm.
and which was great. It saved billions of lives, but
Yeah.
we need something different now. We need you can't replace the green revolution food system or billions of people will start to starve.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. But you do need, what we do need is we need an alternative food system that's based on more regenerative ecological farming practices. And
Mm,
people hear these things regenerative and that's like, well, it's a buzzword. No, regenerative just means that we can regrow this and we can continue this cycle. It's something that doesn't run out.
yeah.
Eventually the fossil fuels are gone.
Right.
They're gone.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. We won't have them at some point. We'll use them all up. So
Mm,
we either get them someplace else or we come up with something different. But
mm,
we can, in nature and in food, we can regeneratively create food without chemical pesticides, without chemical fertilizers, without so many of these things that these poisons we put into our body. We don't need to keep things shelf stable. I'm
mm,
working with a guy, his name is AJ Richards.
mm,
He's got a program that's putting farmers together with consumers.
mm.
So direct from small scale farm to consumer.
Brilliant.
And it's a wonderful thing because it ends up being like a subscription model sort of thing, but he
Yeah.
has a whole free thing on it too as well.
That's cool.
So it's just like the way he set it up and structured it. He's like me. I'm not. I don't care about making money from social media and content creation. I'm a mission based creator.
Yeah.
I have a mission to accomplish. I want to help create a more regenerative food system. I want to educate people about where their food comes from and how to
Mm,
make it for themselves and how to be more self-sufficient. And he's a mission-based guy too. He
mm.
says, I've got a mission. I can see we have a problem with the food system. Nobody's doing anything to fix it. So we're going to fix it ourselves.
Wow. Wow. One of the things that I think, Jesus uses all these different teachings about look at the lilies of the field, look at the, look at the birds, look at the tree. Like he's using nature all the time to teach. He's talking about seeds being sown and the soil. So if he's using nature to teach mankind about the proper cadence and relationship that man needs to be in, what have you seen when you're talking about there's a proper system in place? Like what is it that you're seeing, and have you applied anything that you've learned to yourself?
I mean, I think it comes down to balance again. So
Hmm.
when I think about the garden, the first thing I think about used to be the plants,
Hmm.
but now it's not. It's the soil. It's the
Hmm.
soil and it's the microbes. And I could be getting this stat wrong. It's probably crazy, but like I've heard something along the lines of there are many living organisms in a single tablespoon of soil as there are on the whole planet or something like that. Some crazy, as there
Yeah,
are people on the planet, something crazy like that. Which I don't find that nuts at all. Do you know that farm kids get sick less because they spend their youth with their hands in dirt and animal manure? So they're exposed to more microbes. They're exposed to more different things that bolsters their immune system. They literally get sick less.
amazing, amazing.
I,
I believe
the,
there. I was doing, and we're going to come out with some video content at work about, because one day I was like, "What's the difference between dirt and soil?" And I was doing all this research, and because there's another brand, it's all about like we dig dirt, and it sounds cool. It's like it sounds manly and gritty, and like, but I'm like, dirt is dead, soil is alive, and
yeah.
I don't want to play with that which is dead. I want to play with that which is alive, and I want to bathe in life. I don't want to be brushing death around. And so you use this word soil and it's so beautiful. And I don't even know if we have yet to honor that word in its proper place.
Well, it's for me, the chemicals are death.
Hmm.
The chemicals are death because the chemicals are what cause the soil depletion because we don't need to worry about keeping the soil alive. We can turn it
Hmm.
into dirt because we can just supplement it with chemicals. We don't need to worry about bugs. We can just kill them off with chemicals. And all that stuff runs off into the water system and then it ends up running down to the Gulf of Mexico. We got what is it, like a 6 mile, 600 square mile area of just dead ocean down there
Wow.
because all this algae builds up from all the fertilizers
Hmm.
and the algae does great. and it blooms. These big, huge algae blooms grow. But then the algae has a life cycle and it dies. And when it dies, it decomposes and it's releasing carbon dioxide into the water, and it's releasing methane, and it just creates these dead zones where no oxygen can survive, so no fish can survive.
I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, it's a huge problem, and it comes from the fact that we use so much fertilizer. Like the one of the biggest problems we have is lawns.
Mm.
Like I think we use, I want to say it was 10 million,
Right, baby.
10
I
million
love you.
pounds of chemical fertilizer.
Do you want to
Hey,
come
short
say?
stack.
Can you say good night?
Good night.
I love you. Goodbye. Oh, she's a kick. But sorry, how much fertilizer?
Yeah,
Sorry,
no,
that's a
no. I
little bit
mean,
of a distraction.
our lawns use all this chemical fertilizer, and all this stuff runs in the gutters, runs out to the ocean, and then it's causing these algae blooms. And we don't
Right,
need to.
right.
You could grow clover. You could grow. There's a million ground covers.
Yeah.
There's different kinds of like thymes, and we don't need pest control as much. We can
Right.
grow. You can throw lemongrass down. Lemongrass has citronella in it, so it actually deters mosquitoes and other
Oh, that's
insects.
cool. That's
Yeah, marigolds do the same thing. If you're having a problem, there's a plant almost to deter any kind of animal. So
wow.
it's like about creating that balance, about creating those closed loop systems, and they're everywhere. They're
Wow.
everywhere in nature.
That's
Like nature just
amazing.
is able to adapt so great.
Yeah. We stopped 2020 really woke me up with I mean I was already we were eating organic for I don't know 8 years or so, and really clear on processed foods and unprocessed foods and all those things. But 2020 really woke me up, and I started foraging and stopped. We stopped all spraying. I stopped fertilizing my lawn. And here in Texas, I don't fertilize our lawn at all. I've never had it sprayed and treated. And the people that we bought it from had the True Green or whatever brand that they were paying. So all my neighbors continue to do that, but we stopped doing it. Well, what's happened in our yard has been the most beautiful little like minuscule pink flowers. They are so small and beautiful. I mean, just absolutely the colors I've never seen. I don't even know what they are, but I'm like, why would I kill this off? This is more pleasant looking. The grass still kind of looks green, but they sit on it. It's beautiful. I'm like, man, we miss beauty. This world is so ugly. Death is ugly. Decay is ugly. Life is beautiful. I mean, not as like a bumper sticker, but I mean, watching life bloom and grow and thrive. It is actually a thing of beauty to behold. Um, and one other thing I'll just share real quick is that my in 2020 I started foraging, so I was foraging nettles. So I was in Washington State in outside of Seattle, and so I was foraging nettles, fiddlesticks, which I just thought was a term that people said, like, "Oh, fiddlesticks." But when the ferns are like curled up and break them off, and here I'm foraging. I was like, man, there's so many acorns everywhere. Do people eat acorns? I do all this research, and yeah, the natives used to eat acorn, and but it's a hard process because you got to leach them, either hot leach them or cold leach them. So I harvested all these different acorns and have made acorn flour out of it, acorn pancakes and scones, and it's delicious and great. I'm like, man, the earth is so cool. God is so cool. That's how I
Yeah.
look at it. Is God is so incredible the way He has designed all things to be in perfect order.
Do you know what the golden ratio is?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Then you already know what I'm about to say. Is like when you find this spiral
right.
everywhere in nature, it's not a coincidence. It can't be a
Mm,
coincidence. It's
mm.
everywhere. It's in different places from completely unrelated. It
Wow.
can't be a coincidence.
Right.
It's a design.
Yes.
It's an intentional design. And there's a reason that, when, I've got my degrees in fine arts.
Mm.
So I ended up getting degrees in fine arts. I was a studio gallery artist for a while. My artwork was on Chicago Fire on NBC, the TV show.
Yeah.
They used it on the sets of the show. It was great.
Wow, that's cool.
It's really,
That's amazing.
I had him in a gallery in Chicago, and I guess somebody from NBC went in there and just bought everything. They bought all of them,
Wow.
everything in that gallery. It was great. It's a great day for me, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, of
But,
course.
and I got to work on Hit Record on TV with Joseph Gordon-Levitt
Cool.
and got to do some animations, and they won an Emmy, and I've got a certificate back there from when they won the Emmy. That was really cool.
That's
But anyway,
amazing.
you learn making composition and art that if you put the golden ratio in and you just use that in your composition, like you put an object here and an object here, an object here, an object here, and then it focal point into the focal point, people like that art more. They're just naturally more drawn to it. They don't even know why. They're just like,
Like
this
your
feels comfortable.
like your logo, Greenhorn Grove. I can see. Yeah, yeah,
It is there.
yeah. That's right.
100%. And so
Mm,
these, if you have that there, people just, they're just like, they feel more comfortable with it. They feel,
mm.
well, of course, you feel more comfortable when you're close to God.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. So let's talk about more Greenhorn Grove and the
Mhm.
nonprofit and all the things you're doing right now. Like, how did you even turn it into content? Like, you get the farm, and then how'd you get the idea?
When I first started content here, I was making like voiceover videos. You know, you do the lip syncing to stuff,
Uh,
and you follow the trends, and you try to make it funny.
right.
And it took me 3 years to gain 25,000 followers. I got pretty good at it. You know, I got pretty good at editing the little videos and coming up with clever ways to relate it to homesteading. But none of it was really helping anybody. It was just, it was all about, I just wanted to be famous. That's
Mm,
what I decided I was going to do. Since I was on a farm, I was going to
mm,
become famous with social media, and that's all I cared about. And then I sobered up in 2023. And when you sober up, you look back at all that stuff and it's like, wow, this is trash. I
mm,
spent my time making trash. And I looked in the comments of all these people that followed me. And they're commenting like, oh, when you're planting tomatoes, you should do this. Or, hey, I saw that you were trying this. Try this instead. It works really well. And they just did it without asking nothing in return.
wow.
And I said, well, what would they do if they had 25,000 followers? I bet they wouldn't be making dumb videos. I bet they
Mm,
would be helping people. And so I said, all right, I'm just gonna try for 1 month. I'm gonna try to use my voice to help people and educate them and to create useful content that
mm,
comes from the heart instead of trying to be popular.
yeah.
And I'd followed all the internet coaches up to this point, and I did everything they said to, you have to have this and you have to do it in this order and you have to stay in your niche. I did all that stuff, followed
Mm,
everything they said. And that month I just threw the playbook out. I said, no,
mm,
forget all this. I said, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it from the heart. I'm going to be as real as I can.
mm,
In that first month, I said, after 30 days, if I don't gain followers, I'll just quit. In
mm.
that first month, I gained 50,000 followers. In the second month, I gained another 75,000 and had my first reel that hits like 10 million views.
Wow.
And I know now, I'm sure of this. I'm absolutely sure of this, that when I started deciding to do good in the world and I started to put myself out there and to be honest and authentic and genuine, yeah, people liked it because it was more relatable.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like that's when God looked down on me and said, buddy, this is what I've been waiting for.
Mm,
I've been waiting for this for you. I've been waiting for you to put the gifts I gave you to good use. You've been putting them to getting people drunk and throwing parties,
mm,
which is fine. That's your choice. I gave you choice for a reason. Now you made another choice.
mm,
You made the choice to use the gifts I give you. By the way, my name, Matthew, means gift of God.
mm.
And my grandfather once asked me, he said, you know what your name means? I said, it means gift of God. He goes, what does that mean? I said, it means I'm a gift of God. Hey, I was real proud of myself.
Yeah.
My grandfather said, no, you're a moron. He said, you're only a gift because God gave you gifts and you have to give those gifts to the world. They're not yours. You don't own those gifts.
Mm,
Gifts are meant to be given.
mm,
Otherwise, it's a possession.
yeah.
And that's always stuck with me.
Mm.
You know, it's always been, I don't even know where we were going with that. I just started thinking about my grandfather and now I'm
Yeah,
choking up
no, that's
inside.
beautiful. No, that's beautiful. You've seen, because these people were commenting on your videos that
Yeah.
there's this revival of people reclaiming their own sovereignty through returning to the land in whatever way they can. And we met at the Homesteaders of America conference, which has been sold out, sells out every year. They're at capacity. They're trying to find a location to host more people. Um, it is a massive movement, and people in their own ways, whether they have a little chicken coop in their backyard in a neighborhood or they're actually on acreage growing their own food, people are trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you learned from others in this journey, and what are some of the things that you're sharing with others on their journey?
I've learned so much. I've been so blessed.
Mm,
I've just been so blessed throughout all this. I can't believe that this is my life, first off. I
mm,
get to, like, I started the charity out of the social media. All my merch, anybody who buys merch, 100% of the profits go to the charity. Also, I don't take a paycheck from the charity. Everybody who works for the charity is 100% volunteer based.
mm.
You
Cool.
know, we all just give.
Yeah.
That's the whole, it's part of our mission. It's part of what we do.
Mm,
And so, like, being able to build that charity and do things with that charity has made me so whole, you know,
mm,
as a person. And I've been able to help people. This life that I've been given is an absolute blessing in
mm,
every single way,
mm,
in every single way. And the fact that I get to just keep going out there day after day and trying to help people
mm.
and give them purpose. I see all of them. I see all of them wanting purpose and wanting something different. They know that things are messed up,
Yeah.
and they want to be part of the solution. They don't want to be part of the problem.
Yeah. Right. For anyone out there that's wanting to step into their own homesteading world or just embark, what tips or what recommendations do you have for them? Where do they start? And I know you produce a lot of content about this, so share where someone could start.
I think the best place to start. I don't. It doesn't matter what your knowledge level is. The first place you start is with a potted plant.
Mm,
That's where I started. I started with these potted tomatoes and
mm,
I grew them on our back porch. This is early in the lockdowns, and I needed a hobby. So I first I refinished an entire bedroom set. And then once that was done, I needed a new one. And I didn't know how to refinish furniture either. I figured that one out on the fly from YouTube. But
wow.
then I was like, all right, let's grow some plants. And I grew potted plants. And then I added more and I added more. And I started, these poor things, they were overwatered. They had root rot. They were sad and pathetic. I put three of them in, like three tomato plants in a single, like,
Mm,
like 1 cubic foot of soil. These poor tomatoes,
mm,
but they produced tomatoes, and it was the best tomato I ever had in my life. So you want to start somewhere? Start with the garden. Start just growing something and
mm,
tasting the fruit of your labor, literal fruit of your labor,
mm,
and it changes you. It just does. It just, when you see what you're capable of, you want more.
mm.
You're like, I did that.
That's cool.
And you know, people talk a lot about how, you know, you can spend $500 to get an 80-cent tomato. Yeah, you spend the $500 to set up the garden, but then every year you're getting more and more tomatoes and more stuff, and you're growing more stuff, and you're getting outside, and you're in better shape because you're eating better. Your
Mm,
food isn't full of junk.
right.
You know, the rise from processed food came up after World War II in the 1950s. You know, all these soldiers came home. We had the baby boom. We needed to be able to keep up with everything. Convenience, easiness was everybody's hallmark. And
Mm,
so that's how ultra processed food ended up digging its claws into our nation.
mm,
And we haven't realized in my lifetime until now that there's an alternative.
mm.
You know, my grandfather gardened always, never
Yeah,
stopped, made
right.
homemade Italian food. You know, it was amazing. It was delicious.
Mm,
And it's like, but until you experience that, you don't really understand that it's not just about the food. It's about the whole thing. Like, I spend out time outside in the soil. I get exercise, I get fresh air, I connect with nature. I'm not looking at a screen.
yeah.
You know, I'm not immersed in anything. I work at a leisurely pace
Mm,
because there's no point to rushing. Nobody's rushing me. There's no task list that needs to be accomplished other than I just need to make sure the plants are okay.
yeah. Yeah. Man, it's so beautiful, and I'm really happy we met, and I'm really
Me too.
happy that everything that you're doing, and I know you're going through a lot, but this is the invitation for every person to step into authenticity and step. These words don't even, what do these words mean? Just step into to truth. Just we got to tell the truth again. We have to tell the truth of what we're going through. We have to tell the truth about what's going on. We have to tell the truth. The only way we're going to be free is truth. And the only way truth will come out is by being in the presence of love. Truth will not come out in a place where it feels shamed, and that's what's so beautiful about this conversation is two brothers just sitting together. And David says in Psalms, oh, how beautiful it is when brothers dwell in unity together. And there is something so beautiful about what you're going through and how you shared it, and vice versa, that brother, I just thank you. Thank you for
Oh,
thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for your heart. And um I want to thank your wife too, because she's part of this journey too. And however it's working itself out, that it's all beautiful.
in the long run, I just want the kids to be happy. I
Yeah.
want her to be happy. I'd like to be happy myself, but
Yeah.
I put that last. But I'm going to do my best to be the best I can be.
Mm.
And that's all I can do. I can't control anything else,
Yeah.
but it's like you say, it's all about honesty and authenticity. And I'm just trying to stay honest with myself too and not lie to myself about things.
Mm.
But I mean, look at this. Like you seen the new beard.
Yeah. Yeah.
You saw the post about it.
Yeah.
I did. And
Yeah.
for anybody who doesn't know me, this was down to here.
Yes. When I
Just
met Matt, it was all the way low
yeah,
chest. Yeah.
just a couple days ago. And I
Yeah.
chopped it off. And the reason I chopped it off, I don't know if you knew this. The reason I chopped it off, I put in the captions, not in the post, is because I have gray in my beard. I've
Mm.
always had gray in my beard, and I've dyed it. I've used
Oh.
henna tattoo or henna shampoo.
Mm.
So not the harsh chemical dyes, but
Yeah.
like a henna tattoo
Mm.
or shampoo that would go in there and gently keep it brown. And
Mm.
I got tired of it. I said, I'm tired of maintaining this. I'm tired of, I
Yeah.
did it. It was another thing I did out of ego before I changed my content. At
Mm.
that time when I was trying to make it big, I
Yeah.
didn't want to be the old man on social media,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was dyeing it for so long that by the time I didn't care anymore, it was like, well, now if I grow it out, it's going to be like
Yeah.
1 inch of an 8 inch beard. Like that's
Yeah. Yeah.
silly.
Yeah.
So I just said, I'm chopping it all off. I'll grow it back. I said, I'm chopping it all off. I'm just going to be more real. I
Yeah.
need to be.
I love it. I love it. You know what I call this? It's just called wisdom. It's just called wisdom, brother. That's all it is. And this world needs more wisdom.
Yeah, that's the truth.
More wisdom.
I could use
Yes.
some.
Yeah, brother. We all we all can. Um, And if do you mind as we close out, and I'm going to put your website in the show notes, and everyone go follow Matthew and what you're doing and Greenhorn Grove and Here We Grow and all the things. But do you mind if I pray for you as we close this out?
I wouldn't mind it all. I would appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Father God, I thank you so much for your incredible loving kindness. Father, I pray for my brother Matthew. I just love him and would give him the biggest hug right now, Lord. But I know you're holding him. I know you're holding his wife and his children. And I know you're holding me and my wife and my children and everyone listening. God is holding you. Father, I just pray that you continually pour out your love, your mercy, your grace. Fill us with your joy. Fill us with your unfailing love and unfailing truth, Lord God. I just pray that these words, this conversation would reach and resonate with the ears that need to hear it, the hearts that need to feel it, and the minds that need to contain this type of conversation where two brothers can be real and share love with one another. Father, I just pray you be glorified in Matthew and everything that he does, everything that I do. And I just pray a blessing over him. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Well, Brother Matthew, thank you again for coming on, and God bless you and everything that you're doing. And everyone, God bless you. I'm so honored to have you on this journey with me. And this podcast is my heart's pouring out to you to bless you. I really believe that we're walking in this journey together. The world is exactly the way the world is. It's wild, it's nuts, but it's also so fun because when you can reclaim your own sovereignty, when you can reclaim your own healing and not be victim to the past, like Matthew was able to heal and let go of every painful thing that was said and done to him, you can reclaim something back inside yourself. And so if you need help, if you need support, reach out to me on my website, lucasmack.com. I have coaching available. I have retreats coming up in 2026. Whatever support you need, my heart is here to walk this journey with you as we all are walking this journey. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I am Lucas Mack. This is the Lucas Mack Show, and I will talk to you on the next episode. Thank you for listening. If you're struggling to break free and need support, go to my website at lucasmack.com. There you'll find resources like videos and ebooks, and also information on how to work with me for coaching. Thank you again, and I'll talk to you soon.